Well, welcome to the podcast. Yes, I have actually got a scoop for everyone today. Daryl Stenhouse from MRE in southwest Sydney in the Macarthur district. He's one of the leading agents, and we're about an hour out of Sydney. And so many people come and ask us, when I'm preparing to sell my home, what can I do to make it better? And from a buyer's agent, I love going into homes and picking faults, because if I can find something that isn't quite right, it enables me to bring the price down, and I then give someone like Daryl a hard time, and we're normally at either side and we get on quite well. But we also deal with people who come to us and say, Rob, Rach, how can we help? How can we get a better price for our home? So I thought, you know what, let's go to someone on the other side who's selling every day of the week, who does some magnificent sales in a beautiful part of Sydney. Welcome to the podcast, Daryl. How are you?
Thank you, Rob. Thanks very much for having me. And yes, it is a beautiful part of the world out here in the greater Camden area.
Yeah.
And lots of people seeing that, hearing about it more and coming out to our open homes. Yeah. So it's exciting times for the Southwest.
Now, you do a lot of appraisals during the week. You're very successful. But quite often, I've been into your homes before you've staged them, before you've done anything, and then I've seen them after. And they are amazing. When you first sit down with a client, a prospective, and they haven't signed on the books and they said, Daryl, what can I do to get the best price for my house? Where do you start and what do you tell them?
It's easy. My decision-making process on what advice I give is fairly simple. It comes from what advice would I like to hear.
Yep.
I think that's the basis of where it all comes from. And I would like to hear how am I going to get the best price as well. And, you know, a little bit of humour always involved, you know. You versus me.
I'll tell you now, his jokes are no good. They're better than mine, but they're not that good.
A little bit of humour is always an integral part of any good business, I think. But when it gets down to the thumbtacks of it all, it's really important that when buyers are coming to our home, they're open to the discussion earlier in the process.
Yes.
And quite often my sit down with potential vendors is I would like to be talking about dollars and cents and how we're closing the deal for our vendors as soon as we can. And that, if it's on site on the day, fantastic. If it's not, not too far down the road is what I'm thinking.
How important is it for someone, I'll go with the first thing, to have a clean home when they're doing their first open house?
Cleanliness is one of those extremely important subjects. In particular, too, the ladies do pick up on this, and no sexism meant, nothing like that. And it closes the heart or it opens it.
Yeah.
And everyone's take on cleanliness is a little different.
Yes.
I understand that as well. But so for me, professionally cleaned or as well as you possibly can is crucial, followed by beautiful furniture, followed by a coat of paint, followed by whatever things that are just making something present its best. It may be a lovely home, but it needs a coat of paint. It just needs a freshen up in the bathrooms. It needs some new tapware. It needs some basic things just to make it look a little newer, better, more impressive. So back to talking about offers, dollars and cents earlier, that's where it comes from.
They say, I was actually watching a podcast from overseas, and they said when someone pulls up outside, you have on average 27 to 30 seconds, and they make their mind up as soon as they get out of the car. So let's say we're on the outside. Now, where we are today, this home is immaculate inside and out. It must be an actual pleasure to show. Your clients are just about, they listen to everything you've said. So from the outside, if someone's looking at a house, what's the first things you would say to a client to get ready for an open house?
Sharp edges. You know, it's as a 2 words to express everything. Just sharp edges. Make it lawns done nicely, trimming done, basic things that we can all do ourselves. I think is crucial to capturing someone in that first 20 to 30 seconds whilst you're getting the kids out of the car.
Yes.
I want to get in there. That's what you want to be promoting from the front. And from a perspective of I'll be proud of this home when I walk out the front. All of these feelings and emotions. I'm going to be living in the street. I've got the best house in the street. And when I walk outside, I'm going to be proud every day going forward from here because I've bought this home. That's what I'm trying to promote.
No, because I know as a buyer's agent, we drive past, if we're looking at 5 or 6 homes for a client, before the client's even looked at it, we do drive past.
Yes.
And I've made the call on homes when I've driven past, gone, no. So you can imagine what people who are looking to buy your home are thinking the same thing. And it doesn't take that much to get someone who's a landscaper or just someone who does the lawns to come out and zhoosh up the front of the house, does it?
Doesn't take much at all. It's they're really basic things, but they work. Yeah, it's not rocket science.
No, it's
None
not,
of this
no.
is. It surely isn't. It's very simple. It's not hard. It's a little effort. Yes, maybe in this environment, you may have to schedule a day or two or a few days or something in preparation, but you're polishing and waxing and cleaning your car before you sell it.
Yes.
You're getting it detailed by a professional.
Yeah.
You're doing these things to promote the same thing. Why wouldn't you do it for your home? Yes, a little more depth you can go into. You can go into new lighting. You can go into new all those basic smaller renovational options as well. Or you can just go into a coat of paint, some styling, some nice lounges, some coffee tables, dining tables that are really appropriate, all those types of things, which just perception is a huge thing.
So we've now moved inside the house. You brought that up, which we're going to get onto the professional services I know you guys recommend. Decluttering. I mean, people hear it all the time, declutter. And now decluttering is more than just cleaning out bits and paper. You can actually go into a house and it's got too much furniture.
Yes.
So decluttering can make a massive difference to the price because people think the house is bigger when it has less in it. So how do you get the balance between taking too much out so it feels cavernous?
Yes.
This house is perfect. You can look behind us, those listening on Spotify or iTunes probably, of course, can't see it, but those watching the video can. This is perfectly symmetrical. This house has been done fantastic. How do you get the balance between taking too much out and not leaving enough in?
Yeah. It's back to conversation early to get the professionals around you to make these decisions. I'm great. I have my part of this service from beginning to end and beyond, and from years before in this occasion. But my best advice is let's get the professionals. There are professionals out there that are doing this every day. So from me, yes, I know what looks good, and yes, I'd be able to promote something, but I would lean on professionals.
So what do you do when a client says to you, but this is my house, I don't like the colour beige? But they're selling the house.
Yes.
How do you get over that hump? I mean...
Well, it can be a very heartfelt conversation. It's what do you want more? What means more to you when in the sale of your home? Is it selling the dream that you had all these years? If so, with the transparency that may cause difficulties or hoops to jump through during a sale, or would you prefer to present something to more buyers that they're going to be open to better offers sooner? And usually you get to that point fairly quickly when you turn it around and say, what do you want more?
A lot of homes we go into, we look at the feel. If the house has got to feel like a home, if it's for our owner-occupier. If it's an investor, you're looking at the square meterage and how many rooms. It's a totally different feel.
Correct, yeah.
But people do lack imagination. There is apps out there now where an agent can take an empty unit and put in virtual staging or real staging.
Yes.
And it'll put you on the market. I haven't told you about this one. You're going to an empty unit, virtual staging online, people turn up, nothing in.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer from an agent?
Yeah, great question, and put me on the spot with that one. Been in the situation 1,000 times. Nothing wrong with virtual staging.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, provided you've got a professional doing the work for you.
Yes, true.
But because you do need it to look authentic.
You do, yeah.
You do. And from the conversation of buyers coming through your front door thereafter, it's an easy conversation. Be transparent. It was virtually staged. And then most parties just don't mind that. They're here, they're seeing the space that virtual staging was presented in. They're fine. If you get the odd party that sort of has something to say about it, well, then you can work through that at the time. But it's, for me, our role is to promote buyers coming to your home.
Yes.
And to promote then a good, fair conversation on price point, followed by having the same conversation with another buyer, and creating an environment of urgency to buy a home. And we all know this. And to me, most of us buyers and sellers are pretty educated now.
They are.
They're very educated.
They make your and my job a lot harder than what it used to be.
Harder, easier, both ways.
Yeah.
I can see it as easier as well. It's easier because then we can get through it. We understand what market
We get through the
is.
initial part,
Yes.
don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, we can get through all of that and then have a real conversation. Okay, all of that, back with a little bit of humour thrown in, always. Now let's talk about the home. Is it where you want it to be?
Yeah.
Does it suit you space-wise? Is there anything that we can alter to make better spaces for you in the future? Does it tick enough boxes? Cliche real estate, ticking boxes. Chris Lilly's a good one with that.
Yes.
I know you've seen Chris Lilly in the real estate, very humorous. But it's true. We need to get past a certain threshold where both parties buying, or all parties buying, are comfortable with the home. Then, provided their heart's open because it presents so well, then a little bit of forgiveness will happen when everything isn't quite right.
So
If there's one bathroom down the end that's not done, but the rest of the house is beautiful,
that's true.
wonderful. We can get past that because we're already done. We're already making an offer.
So they've already got that emotional
Correct.
connection. So first question, someone has got really nice furniture. The house isn't too bad. They don't actually need to get someone to come in and stage it. But can they get someone to come in who can say, get rid of that, put that in, move that here? Are there people out there that will give someone advice on how to set up with their existing furniture?
Well, yes, good question, and that's a scale back, and I understand are necessary for some parties, and yes is the answer to that. So the professionals, I would say most of the professional staging out there, like a quoting system, are happy to go. Well, certainly my clients.
Just to tinker with the house.
Yes, people that they have a sit down, have a cup of coffee, have a talk about what your needs are. If it comes to the point from their business perspective that they can't go down the road of styling, understood, then that professional probably just give them that advice at the time, and we can have that discussion.
Now, I've been in a house that wasn't styled, and it sat on the market for a couple of weeks, and it was a beautiful Art Deco home. And then the agent got in a professional styler, and it was modern furniture with an Art Deco feel. And it sold the following week, and sold for a lot more money than what they thought. Can spending $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 on styling have that big an effect on the end price if it's done right?
Well, you're asking me the question. You would feel your answer to that as well. Mine is yes, through and through. Yeah, yes, 100% it can. Back to investment into your sale, investment into your preparation for sale.
Because it is an investment.
Yes.
It's not a cost.
Correct.
Styling is an investment.
It's an investment into your sale. It really is. You need to look at it that way. And by the way, most styling out there, I'm not sure if most people know, from a living perspective, you can sit on the lounges, you can sleep in the beds.
I thought he wanted to move out and never touch a thing once the stylist comes through.
Just so we're aware, yes, that's the way it is. You can sit on the lounges, you can eat on the dining table, you can sleep in the beds. It's that's what part of the service is. Part of the service is for convenience then as well. So with it all, through and through, it is an investment, and bar the conversations, which can be very varied, yes, it will get you a better result faster.
Well, that's what most people want to see.
Yeah.
So you come to a client who's looking at the house, and it's a nice house. They've chosen not to invest in a stylist, but it's still a good house. It's something you can sell and get them a really good result. What's 2 or 3 things you would tell somebody that they must do before you come in and do your professional photography? And we will talk about professional photography in a minute.
Yeah.
So what are the 3 biggest tips or 4 biggest tips you tell one of your new clients before you turn up with your photographer?
Yeah. Well, it's the declutter is one of them. Preparing, depending on bedrooms, if it's a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom home, more than likely you're only taking photographs of 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So you could, during that week of preparation, and you've still got another, up to another week before you're showing clients through the home, you can put everything in that room.
Unless you get a phone call from me saying, Daryl, I want to get in early.
True, that's great. Then it's a scamper to get ready. But you can use that other room. Put everything in that room for now. You scale it back that way and then get rid of it from there. But prepare 2 of the bedrooms for photos, the declutter, and getting your edges and getting your outside prepared. If it was a basic move towards photography and successful photography and a quality product online without styling, that's what it is.
So a lot of people say, why can't I just take photos using my iPhone or my Galaxy? Yeah. Now, you and I have seen people who have tried to sell their home online, and most of the time they do it themselves. It doesn't work out well for them. And then you look at the quality of the photography.
Yep.
People say, but the photographer costs so much. But does it? And what is the difference a good professional property photographer, which are very different to normal photographers, can make to a property? How important is it?
Huge, huge. It's like cutting an arm off if I don't have a good professional photographer.
Yeah.
It is your window to the world.
Yes.
And for that, you have to trust your professional. They know photography. They know that getting a corner of a piece of furniture in a thing will give perspective, but too much of it will take up too much room. They know this. That's why they're there, just like the stylist is there the week before that.
Yes.
I'm there before and after, and then I meet you, and then we do the other bit. So everybody plays their role, and there is that is a huge role. Having a quality professional photographer to present things as well as you possibly can, because that is your window to the world with all of your online portals. That is the biggest part of anybody's marketing right now, whether we say whatever we say.
Well, you've got Instagram now, you've got TikTok, you've got the major online portals, you've got your own, you've got Facebook. So it has to be aesthetically appealing, because people are buying with their eyes before they're walking in.
And the change that we've all noticed, I'm sure mums and dads out there too have noticed the change in what they're seeing online as to what it was 10, 15 years ago, definitely.
Oh, sure.
It's streets apart, which is a great thing. So the industry's going in a really good direction like that. Most people are presenting their home as well as they possibly can. And yes, the ideas of a video like this, thank you for having me on, is to promote that even going further in the right direction. So
now we're going to wind up on a couple of things. Feedback. People quite often, when they get feedback after their first open home, take it personally. And we all know that all that is that person giving feedback from their perspective of them looking at it. How important is it for someone who's listed with an agent, they've had their first open home, not feedback on price, but feedback on what did they say about my house? How important is that, and can that change by the following open home?
Absolutely, it can. Well, feedback is part of one of my professional roles. You know, it really is. It's preparing my vendors to make a decision, whether it be first week, second week, third week, 10th week, whatever that sale is, and they can vary that much. So feedback is like anything. How do you know when to make a decision if you haven't processed quality feedback over a period of time? Sometimes it's really fast.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's a challenge as well.
Yeah,
But
the purple land with the pink
Yeah.
veranda and all that, it sort of comes pretty quick and
yes,
it can hit you very quickly.
it can.
yeah.
It really can. And I think the key to these things is, okay, we're getting the purple veranda and the pink lounge, pink wall,
And it
whatever
happens.
it is, and it happens. But my job in that role is to define what the feedback actually means. Is that
yeah.
they don't like it? Can we paint the wall? Yes, we can. Would you like us to paint the wall before you move in? We can do that too. What colour would you like the wall
Yes.
before we move in? We can do that as well.
There's a solution to most
Yes,
things. Yeah.
correct. And then if they still don't like it, well, then there's an issue. They don't like the home enough, and that to me affects the quality of the offer. And so back to my role for my vendors is to define who's making the best offers, and that can quite often be the reasons around their offer, not just the offer, if that makes sense.
It does. So we're going to wind up here. I'm going to ask you with one last question. Today we are speaking with Daryl Stenhouse from MRE Real Estate here in the beautiful Macarthur Camden area. He is one of their top agents, and I know that personally. He's very well respected. You're sitting on the other side and you're selling your home, and you're the agent sitting there. What is, you think, the most important question a person should ask the agent, not on price, about when it comes to selling their home and presenting it and getting the most value for their home on the market?
From that, it's one of...
It's probably more than one. But
yes,
yeah.
one that I can think of is, Mr. Agent, how do you treat your buyers?
Yeah.
Is probably one, and
that's true.
open
Oh,
up that conversation.
I can agree with that one.
That would be a huge one. So,
is.
and that's multifaceted, I know, and very open in itself. But I would like to hear that. That's what I'd like to hear from my agent. What are you doing with our buyers to promote a better sale?
Awesome. Well, hopefully you've learnt something today about bringing your house to market. Hopefully it's not one of the houses I'm going to buy from one of my customers because it'll probably cost them more. But look, this podcast is all about helping people in property in Australia. It's all about giving you some tips, some tools, and, starting the conversation. And I'd like to thank Daryl again for being here today.
Thank you.
He's got a very busy day, so I can't keep him much more. I think you've got this house to sell, so I better get out of your way. You have a fantastic week, everyone, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.